How much did I charge? Oh yeah, $10. You got change for a 20?
I only got $6.12.
Oh, well, that's okay. Here, just give me the $6, and then I'll give you the 20.
Okay.
Now, give me the pubes, and I'll give you back $2.
Right.
Now, give me the 12 cents, and I'll give you the rest of your change back. And then give me the 20, and I'll give you the pubes.
Sweet. God damn!
Look, I know I said I wasn't going to do CJAX videos for a little while, but however, I think we do need to react to this because I think it's important because, WWE is in panic mode, and it's mainly because of ESPN. But let's hear what CJAX has to say about this. But it ain't looking good for WWE, but let's hear.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to acknowledge the fact that something big is about to happen. WWE is very clearly in do or die mode at this point. There are reports coming out that the heel turn that took place, or the double heel turn, I guess you could call it, that took place yesterday with Bronito Breakker and Broncinho Reed beating down Seth Rollins at the end of Raw yesterday was apparently, allegedly, something that was planned creatively as a massive pivot, which means that either Seth Rollins and the rumors about his injury, apparently he injured his shoulder while fighting against Codarius Rodington at Crown Jewel, which, I mean, it makes sense. He did a coast-to-coast from like 10, 15 feet in the air, you know what I'm saying, and kind of landed on his shoulder, unfortunately. I'm not exactly sure why he chose to do that move, but it is what it is. He chose to do the move, and unfortunately, he got injured. So it looks like Seth may be out for like a medium to a long-term injury. It kind of reminds me of the Liv Morgan injury from a few months ago, where she kind of landed on her elbow awkwardly, and like her shoulder rolled over, and it kind of broke or whatever happened to it. It looks kind of similar to that, but obviously Rollins has much more muscle mass than Liv Morgan, and he jumped from a higher height, so it's a different situation. Hopefully Rollins can have a speedy recovery if he is injured. I know a lot of people are worried because they're like, well, what about the last time he was allegedly injured and then cashed in at SummerSlam? But I think this is actually a legitimate injury, so we'll see what happens with that. But this planned massive creative pivot out of nowhere shows you that WWE, triple fraud, you know what I'm saying, and Paul Heyman probably came up with the idea himself. Whoever came up with the idea, the head of creative triple fraud actually listened to them and took the idea, and they ran with it. And last night you got a pretty good segment to end an awful episode of Monday Night Raw. But the point is that more creative and big pivots like this, I feel like, are going to continue to happen. WWE is at a super low point. We have to acknowledge it the way that it is, guys. We are now heading into a Mania season is going to start in 2 months. You get what I mean? And we have no stories for Mania 42. Just off looking right now. We're going to talk about this in a little bit. Obviously, we're 6 months out from Mania, so things can change drastically in the next 6 months. But again, after this year's Mania 41 being as bad as it was, people were saying things would change drastically over the summer and later on in the year, and things only got worse. So, you know what I mean? So, we have to acknowledge the track record of triple fraud in the creative team's booking, okay? If we're being legitimately honest with ourselves, this company started off with a 1.8 to 1.9 million average viewership on SmackDown on USA last year, USA Network. Now they're struggling to get 1 million, and this week, after this taped show from last week from Australia, they're likely going to dip below 1 million for this week's rating that's going to come out for last week's episode. You get what I mean? If these ratings continue, they're going to get pulled off of USA Network.
This bitch unlocked, man. Damn. Bro, what the fuck, bro? You ain't gonna help that.
It's not a joke. It's not an exaggeration. It's going to happen at some point. It may not happen like next week or the next month or something like that. Heck, it may not even happen next year. But within the next couple years, you are going to notice the end of this show being on USA Network. And after it's off USA Network, where are they going to go? Where are they going to go? They already tried to go to Fox. That didn't work out. You know what I'm saying? Fox didn't get the money back on their investment. Netflix is already not getting the money back on their investment. If Netflix dips to like a 2 million, bro, or a sub 2 million, they're already at 2.3. And that's with both of their WWE World Champions advertised. If they are struggling to get to 2 million, I am going to bet you money that they will be kicked off of Netflix in the next couple years as well. This is not a joke. They are at their wits' end. They are about to enter uncharted territories. You get what I mean? Unprecedented waters. This is it. This is it. You know what I mean? This is Triple H's last chance to get this creativity and get this creative team and writing team on their stuff. Make good shows again. This is not acceptable. The stuff they've been doing for the last 16 months is unacceptable. Hence why I just told you went from 1.9 mil to 1 million. Like what? I mean, I don't know what other clear metric there is to show you what's happened over the last 12 months. So it is what it is. They are at their wits' end, and they are at the point where it's bend don't break at this point, but they're about to break. It's it. So what will Triple H do? How will he respond? You know what I'm saying, in these coming months? And that's what makes it interesting, I will say, as a wrestling fan, is seeing the different types of creativity and different, well, hopefully creativity and different types of creative resets and moves and shock factors and maybe roster switches and booking decisions and title changes and, you know what I'm saying, show endings and openings. How are they going to alter the way that these shows are done and alter the way that these storylines are delivered? You get what I mean? They have to make these changes, and I know that they have to, and we all know that they have to make these changes, and they know that they have to make these changes. So how will they respond? That is what makes it interesting, and that's what leaves room for sometimes you get a great ending to Raw like you did last night with Braun Breaker turning on Seth Rollins, and same with Bronson Reed. That is what needs to be happening consistently going forward. You're not always going to have these shocking and epic endings to these shows and epic openings, but what you need to start doing is have a consistent baseline. Hey, I can tune into Raw each week and know that I will at least get a decent product that is at least going to have effort and creativity into it. It's not just going to be a bunch of boring and lifeless and nonsensical rematches, nonsensical stories that never have any consistency. They're not engaging. Nobody cares about them. And we're going to actually start developing new stars. If Triple H can actually start doing that, you can possibly notice the show's getting better. But heading into this Mania 42 season, no more Cena, no more, what's it called? Probably no Rock gonna be there. You gotta figure something out, and you gotta figure it out quick, bro. Because I'm looking at this landscape. What's your main event for night one gonna be? Branito Breaker versus Los Angeles Knight for the world title for the 19th time? I mean, like, what are we looking at? Seriously. So their backs are against the wall and they know it. They got to fix it. But like I said, WWE is obviously in do or die. Hence why you're seeing these random shock factor moves. What we've seen so far, first off, at WrestlePalooza, the original plan was to have Cody Rhodes lose to Drew McIntyre in that match and set up the Randy heel turn, and then eventually Randy was going to feud with Cody. So right now, there's potential that right now Drew McIntyre could have been WWE champion. That's the first thing. Secondly, obviously we have the situation now with Rollins potentially being out for a while. That means that Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, we're probably going to have to see them, probably take the reins of Monday Night Raw. And the alleged rumors are that Austin Theory or Brock Lesnar or both of them could be added to this faction in time for War Games. Now, I don't know about the validity of this. Obviously, Brock Lesnar will be back at some point, and he's probably going to help out Heyman and, Braun and Branito, and Brunson and Branito, I should say. And that's basically the situation with that. But at the end of the day, these decisions are going to continue to keep on happening. The PLE international viewership is declining so much so that they did literally just stop reporting after Night of Champions, I'm pretty sure, because I was keeping up with it and I just couldn't find any reports after Night of Champions because the viewership internationally was dipping below 1 million on Netflix for the PLEs. Obviously, we have the multiple weeks of record low Raw Netflix viewership and record low SmackDown viewership in the history of this company. Because of these things, because of the views declining, Triple H, Nicholas Khan, The Rock, the final boss, you know what I'm saying? Which we're going to be talking about later this week because of something that he said as well about potentially knowing about John Cena's, final opponent, and basically saying that he has a little bit of creative freedom when it comes to that, you know what I'm saying, in terms of, who he can suggest as Cena's final opponent, but ultimately it's Cena's choice who he wants that person to be. But we'll deal with The Rock at a later date and time, you know what I'm saying? Mama Rose, the final boss. Anyways, that's not the point. WWE, because their viewership is drastically declined and it's reaching like record low, it's getting bad, man. They're on E. You know what I'm saying? They're running on E. The gas tank's running on E, and you can see on Raw and SmackDown, compared to the last garbage we've been getting for the last 15 months, they're actually trying to make noteworthy and meaningful moments on these shows, at least the last couple SmackDowns and Raws, or the last SmackDown and Raw, individually. The last SmackDown I'd say is like a 4 out of 10, which is an improvement from a 1 or 2 out of 10. And then Raw, even though it was still a 2 out of 10 last night, at least it had a massive noteworthy moment that has us talking, and the story can go in different ways. So by proximity, the segment was good and it had some intrigue. This is what they're going to have to continue to do. With the heel turn, the double heel turn now, and Rollins potentially being injured, Braun and Bronson Reed have basically done absolutely nothing all year. You get what I mean? They've wasted their years away. Braun Breaker walked into Mania 41 as the IC champ. He walked out without the belt, and now he's going to become a leader of a faction, which makes no sense. Number one, he obviously lost to Sami Zayn, and so should I say Samuel Zayn, and Jay Yeatmaster in individual one-on-one matches for the IC title last year. Now you fast forward, Braun Breaker has basically, I mean, can you tell me just tell me 3 great stories or great promos he's had this year?
Well, this one was my favorite.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it hasn't happened. And can you even tell me 3 amazing matches he's had this year? I don't even know.
Well, to me, this was my favorite as well from him.
Is this the same repeat stuff with LA Knight and Jay Yeatmaster? And that's not acceptable.
Dang, all my favorites from last year. Well, at least the promo he had with WrestleMania 41 was this year. So, to me, that was my favorite. The Fatal 4-Way was great too. You know, I thought that was good, but it wasn't my favorite though. And the reason why it's not my favorite, because it was pretty much, like, the storyline was pretty much about Finn and Dominic Mysterio's, rivalry that we should have kept going, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't really about Braun Breaker and Penta. It was more about Finn and Dom, and that's why I say it's not my favorite, because it should have been about everybody, but in reality, it was more about Finn and Dom, thanks to Liv Morgan. But other than that, it still was a good match, though. But just wasn't my favorite because of the storyline. But, yeah, that's my input.
And now that we've known now for probably for a fact that the last 3 months of the same rematches with Los Angeles Knight, Jay Yeatmaster, and Braun Breaker and Bronzinho Reed, we know that was basically a waste of time that went nowhere. We have now wasted our time. So WWE has a bunch of fan, discontent. Fans are not wanting to spend the $30 plus a month on ESPN Premium so they can watch these PLEs because they're not premium live events. Why would you charge 3 times what you were charging before on Peacock? You're charging 3 times now for $30 on ESPN Premium to still get 5 matches, and all of them are meaningless. Do you see what are we doing at this point? It's ridiculous. So with all of this coinciding, WWE and Triple H's backs are against the wall. And what are they going to do to respond? We are going to see over these next few weeks and the next few months leading into Mania 42 season, when Royal Rumble season comes around and everything like that. Because things have to change. We just got a situation. I saw someone on Twitter say this. This is an amazing tweet. They said that the Vision faction is basically 007. 0 good matches. You know what I'm saying? 0 good stories basically in 7 months of time wasted. And that was absolutely
damn. I gotta post that on Instagram.
hilarious because it's facts. Nothing happened with this faction. WrestleMania 41 was a waste of time. The heel turn with Heyman, or Heyman turning on Rollins and Roman and Punk, was stupid. It should have never been a triple threat in the first place. You should have just done Roman versus Seth in a last man standing match or something to end off this feud and completely move on or something like that. And then or you know what I mean? You could have just had Seth go do something else. Go fight Gunther or something. I don't know. Figure it out. But that triple threat was a waste of time, and it was a pointless story, and it's paid off really bad dividends. Crown Jewel was a waste of time. Money in the Bank was a waste of time. SummerSlam was a waste of time. The cash-in is now a waste of time because he's probably going to lose the belt to either Punkinator or Bronito Breaker. So, what are we doing at this point? Everything has been meaningless this year because your main through line and storyline on Raw, not only does it suck and it's nonsensical, but everything that's taken place with it in the mainline PLEs has been meaningless now and been rendered useless. So it's just, the direction of it is not going good. Obviously, you look at the rest of the roster and there's multiple issues right now. Roman Reigns is obviously part-time, and he is your top star, your biggest star, and your best star. And now you're booking him like a jobber. And by I mean triple fraud has ruined Romano Reigns. Why is Romano Reigns has been pinned 2 times in this decade so far? 2 times in this decade so far by 2 people. Codarius Rodington and now Bronzinho Reed a couple nights ago. But instead of Brunson Reed being the one to hold up the world title and be the head, leader of this new faction with him and Braun and Paul Heyman, it's Braun Breaker being the one to lead the charge? How? Brunson Reed pinned Rollins last year and pins Roman Reigns this year, and he's not leading the charge. But Braun Breaker, who lost to Roman Reigns' cousin, his former lackey, right-hand man Jey Uso, and Sammy Uso, and he is now the head of the charge. None of this makes sense. You get what I mean? And Braun Breaker, as much as I like Braun Breaker, I think he has potential. His storytelling and promo ability, I have not seen anything of it that makes me think that he's going to be a superstar. Not even a superstar on the level of Roman or Cena that they can carry a generation, but not even a superstar on the level of Codarius Rodington. You understand what I'm saying? He's not even going to be a star as big as Cody Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes isn't even a legitimate superstar in my opinion. By today's standards, you can say he is a superstar, but by actual standards of what is a superstar or a megastar that defines a generation, Braun Breaker or Brunson Reed are not hitting those levels. But at least if you're going to have Brunson Reed pin Roman Reigns and be in that rare era of people who have done that this decade, at least do something with him. But instead, it looks like he's just going to be a lackey, and that is not going to pay off good long term. I'm telling you right now. Cody Rhodes' championship reign sucks. It's not being booked well. The amount amount of times that Cody Rhodes comes out in a suit to tell us about respect and love and care is getting infuriating. How many times has Cody Rhodes come out and cut a meaningless promo, disappeared backstage, and never been seen the rest of the SmackDown? It's happened now for a year and a half, and it's getting ridiculous. It's unacceptable, man. It's actually infuriating me how Cody Rhodes gets consistent championship shots and consistent championship reigns in all these big matches. He never gets pinned clean ever. He never ever has anything interesting going on, and he just continues to hold the championship.
I mean, how you feel about Cody is how I feel about Liv Morgan. No different.
Do something different. Goodness gracious, man. Anyways, Cody Rhodes sucks. His championship reign is trash. He's Stardust at this point. John Cena is leaving soon, obviously. His retirement tour has been absolute garbage, and he's got 4 dates left. Roman Reigns is part-time, so that's that. So something has to give. Something has to give. And like I mentioned before, WrestleMania 42, okay? You have no mainline stories as of now. No main through lines, no drama, no entry that actually makes you want to tune in week after week. Now,
Yeah, I mean, we definitely need to bring the drama back, but the main thing we need to do is get the Judgment Day storyline back to the way it was supposed to be. And that's to have Finn Balor and Liv Morgan, kick themselves out of the group and have Dominic Mysterio get with Roxanne and JD, go someplace far away from the storyline, Or, like I said, the only way we can make this up is that we have Finn and JD lose the tag team belts next week. And then we have Finn Balor cost Dominic Mysterio the Intercontinental title. I don't know if he's going to kick him out, but I think what we could do is that we could just have Finn and Dom go at it until Liv comes back. And then maybe Dom can use Roxanne to extract Finn and have Roxanne betray Finn Balor. And then, at that point, then we can probably get Finn and Liv to team up. And then hopefully around Elimination Chamber or Saturday Night's Main Event, we could have, Liv, Finn, and AJ Styles team up before AJ retires. And we can get a 6 tag match, and, maybe Dom can get with El Grande. He could team up with him to take down, Liv and Finn and AJ, before WrestleMania. And then, Raquel, she wins the women's world title at Survivor Series against Steffi Vakir, carry the belt, and I don't know, until like maybe Backlash or something. And, she wins at WrestleMania, get her first win. And, Liv Morgan wins next year at Saudi Arabia. Regardless of which brand she at, wins the Royal Rumble this year and then win the, WrestleMania next year. So hopefully that could be the build up. We just have to wait and see. But to me, that would be the perfect storyline to end all this, right? You could probably, let's say if Liv Morgan comes back in Survivor Series, we can end this like before, the Royal Rumble where we have Dom and Roxanne betray Finn and Liv in a mixed tag team match. And, Finn and Liv go at it. And then we have JD and Raquel separate themselves from the group because they see that Liv and Finn are distracted and unfocused and they want to move on. And then at that point, Finn and Liv have no choice but to work together because they see what they created, right? So, and then we get that mixed tag team match again, but this time in reverse. So, and then at that point, we just hope that Liv Morgan makes a decision if she wants to go to SmackDown or Raw, after she wins the Royal Rumble. So, and also Roxanne go after the IC belt against AJ Lee, once she beats Becky Lynch, So, hopefully that would be the case for the storyline. We just have to wait, but hopefully that will be the case for either or. Either way, I just want Liv and Finn to squash their beef and work together to get back at Dom and Roxanne for what they did. And then we have Liv focus on Raquel, and then we have, Finn, focus on, something else, So that's all I hope for, But let's continue. But yeah, that to me, that's a compelling storyline right there, what I just created. So hopefully we can make that happen. Let's continue.
Now, a lot of us are probably going to want to tune into next week's Raw to see what's happening with Bronito Breakker and the whole turn that he did on Seth Rollins and what's the status of Seth Rollins and his title reign. We're all going to want to see that. But outside of that next episode, if next episode sucks and the fallout is not that good from what happened with the heel turn thing with Braun Breaker and everything, no one's going to be tuning in consistently again. You're going to go back to record low viewership like you already are. So you're going to be fluctuating around that at the very best case scenario. How are you going to generate viewership and generate hype back into this product? And even if you have ideas that are exciting, like I have some ideas that could be exciting, like Cody losing in a triple threat, with Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre and Cody fighting for the WWE title, and maybe, Jacob Fatu gets pinned by Drew so that Cody's not pinned directly, and that way Drew holds the WWE championship. Or Randy turns heel and interrupts the match, and maybe he is just there as a competitor in general. Maybe it's a fatal four-way, maybe it's a triple threat, and heel Randy takes the title, punts Cody and writes him off TV, and maybe his first feud is Drew McIntyre now as a WWE champion.
That's a good idea. Y'all comment down below if y'all want that.
And I can't stop thinking about Punk, and I can't stop thinking about Randy. You know what I'm saying? But still, that is the situation. That's an idea you could go. And then Cody gets written off for a month or two, comes back, and then now he has something fresh and new to do, fighting against a heel Orton for a WWE championship. Romano Reigns is booked like a jobber right now, so he has nothing going on. And he is the main event guy. Whatever match happens at Mania 42 that's going to main event the show, Roman Reigns will be in the Night 2 main event. So what's he going to be doing? How are you going to get him from where he is now, which is a jobber, and get him to be a main event feeling guy again? He already feels like a main eventer for being real, but the booking of him doesn't make him look like that right now. Like we're just holding on to the fact that he is the biggest star. That's all that makes him a main eventer at this moment. Seth Rollins, he may be hurt for a while. He may miss Mania season, so he's not going to be there. Los Angeles Night is a jobber. The women's main event scene is repetitive, and some of them are injured. The top stars like Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, they haven't been seen in months, and so you don't really have anything. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, they've been in the world title picture more than enough times. We're moving on from that at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least I am. I'm so done with that, So I don't know what's happening. And then you combine that with the fact that the week-to-week shows are meaningless, lifeless, not engaging at all, and are experiencing record low viewership in the history of the company. What are you going to do? Their backs are against the wall, and we are in do or die mode, which is why I expect a massive reset, and I do expect a quality I don't expect it to increase necessarily, but I don't expect it to possibly go down. Something has to give, and I'm hoping that the creative team and Triple Fraud can somehow lock in and give us at least something decent going forward. I expect a massive reset with title changes, honestly, everywhere. I think that Cody Rhodes is going to lose his championship before 2026. It's a bold statement, and I know it's a bold prediction, and it's most likely not going to happen, but I think Codarius Rodington is going to lose that belt within the next 2 months. I do think that Seth Rollins is obviously going to lose his belt probably within the next few weeks. You know what I mean? Stephanie Vaquer may lose hers in the next couple months.
Shout out to Wrestle Features. They said this is Stephanie Vaquer's title run ender. She deserves it. Unreal 2025 for Raquel Hernandez. Now, there's mixed reactions in the comment box, but it don't matter because we all been saying Raquel should take that belt because she never had a single title run, and this is the key right here. So, again, anybody that wants Raquel to not win this belt, y'all can go fuck yourselves because y'all obviously are just dick riding for Liv Morgan, and that's just what it is when you don't realize that Liv Morgan can always get a title shot. If she wants to be second time, 3 time, it's cool. But Raquel needs this first time, okay? And this is the woman to do it, all right? Forget everybody else. Raquel needs this belt, all right? And I would like for her to carry that belt until Backlash. Or I would love for her to carry this belt until Naomi comes back and have her dethrone Raquel's title run. I think if they do that, that would be a great thing for Raquel, especially if her and Naomi go at it when they never face each other like that. I think that would be great for Raquel. And hopefully by that time, she'll get over with the fans and they'll start cheering for her based off her dominance. If we can get that, I guarantee you people will start cheering for Raquel, even though she's quote-unquote heel. I don't think she's heel. And, I mean, if you know her in real life, you will know that she's not heel. But I think if we can get Raquel to win this belt and she carried this belt all the way to Backlash and she has that one-on-one with Liv Morgan at WrestleMania and beats Liv Morgan at Las Vegas, to me, this will be memorable, especially if they book it right. So I'm rooting for Raquel, and I can't wait to celebrate once she wins this belt. So, yeah, man, it's going to feel so good seeing Raquel with that belt. Finally get her first singles title. something to bring home to mama and papa and her, her daughter. That's going to be memorable, And we'll talk more about it, in the days to come. But man, it's going to feel so good seeing Raquel with that singles title. Man, I could see it now. Raquel, the women's world champion. Think about it. Raquel Rendez, the women's world champion, holds the title for 9 months. Well, I won't say 9 months, but I'll say 6 or 7 months. Because I think Naomi said she got 6 months. So, yes, I'll give it like 6 or 7 months. And then after that, we get Naomi versus Raquel. Yeah, we need that. Oh, yeah. Somewhat of a return right there. Somewhat of a return right there. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah. We need that. Raquel versus Naomi for the women's world title. Oh yeah, we need that. For real.
I think Tiffany Stratton is going to lose to either Jade Cargill or maybe a returning Bianca Belair probably within the next month or two. I think her reign is also coming to an end. The mid-card title on SmackDown, Sami Zayn's doing good with the U.S. Open challenges. Those are cool, but I think Melo Hayes is probably going to get it next, and he's going to start doing maybe open challenges, and stars from Raw and SmackDown or even NXT can coincide in getting those challenges as well. But there needs to be a big creative shock that moves things and moves things around, juggles things around, so that people actually have a reason to re-engage with what's happening. Last year, SmackDown debuted on USA Network, averaging 1.8 to 1.9 million views, and now they're struggling to get to the 1 million mark consistently. That's not acceptable. That shows you that something drastic has to change. More creativity needs to be shown, and you need to give people drama or reasons to intrigue, open-ended endings that actually have good storylines and through lines to the point where we're like, wow, I gotta see SmackDown next week. I gotta see this segment next week. I gotta tune into Raw next week to see how this unfolds with LA Knight or Rollins or Punk or Roman, whoever. That's what you need more of. It's not a difficult thing to do, and with Triple Fraud, doing all these podcasts and creative, you would think he has it locked down pat. That's why he's out here celebrating and doing all these record gate. I'm the game. Stephanie Vaquero, come here so I can stare at you weirdly and grab your head. Like, what are we talking about? So we have to figure this out. I do predict big changes in the near future. I think that title changes will happen, and I do think that the creative is going to start making more shock factor decisions so that people can re-engage with what's happening. And then after a little bit more shock factor, then they'll finally have things stabilized and we can get good product consistently, hopefully, leading into Mania 42. Because Mania 42 at this point is do or die. No Cena, likely no Rock, maybe no Rock, I'll say. And Roman's part-time to build these stories. Cody Rhodes' title reign sucks, and Rollins may be injured. So I don't know what else you're going to have to do at this point. And Punk's also on his way out in a few years, probably. Same with Orton. So all your top stars are on their way out, or they're very part-time, and you have to figure out a way to figure things out to make things great again. And if you can't do that, you have to figure out a way to make these shows actually watchable, first of all, and then develop them into being good, and then maybe develop them into being amazing once again. We'll see what Triple Fraud does with his back against the wall, but as for what I've seen so far for the last 15, 16 months of WWE, I'm not confident in this guy whatsoever, but I do hold out hope that maybe the game can impress us and do something special in the near future. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think about the current position of WWE right now. Where do you think they're at? Where do you think things are headed with all the creative changes and things that have to be done in order to save this dying company? You get what I mean? Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a phenomenal day. Peace out and one love.
All right, I'm not even going to change this photo because this photo cold as hell. I ain't going to lie to you, man. But however, let me just give y'all a little storyline that I think that's going to happen. Well, should happen, right? First things first, I do think that Raquel is going to take the belt off of Stephanie Vaquero. And I do think she's going to have one of the greatest title runs of all time. And it's mainly because of the storyline she has with Liv Morgan and the Judgment Day. And I feel like if she wins that belt, there will be some attention in the group, because I do think that Roxanne's going to get jealous to the point where she's going to want to challenge Raquel for the belt. You know what I mean? Or she might just go get herself another belt and make herself feel good because, like, hey, I got another belt. So, now I'm part of the mid-card division. But, however, in order for that to happen, you got to beat AJ Lee for the Intercontinental title. But guess what? Where is AJ Lee? That's the question. Where is AJ Lee? But hopefully when she comes back, hopefully she comes back next week to like, I don't know. I don't think she's going to cost Maxine. I don't think she's going to cost Becky. But I do think that, maybe after the match, AJ Lee will come back and then we'll get AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch as Survivor Series or Saturday night's main event. You know what I mean? So I will say this. Hopefully we'll get the story told right, and hopefully this will not be about Liv and Roxanne. It will be about Liv and Raquel, and I think we will get that at WrestleMania. But the question is, can they do the right thing and have Roxanne go after AJ Lee for the IC belt and have Raquel retain her title against Liv Morgan at WrestleMania? So that way, next year, Liv Morgan can win at Saudi Arabia, because it makes a lot of sense for her to win there when they love her over there than they are in America, where it's like 50-50, you know what I mean? Raquel needs to get over with the fans, and for her to just lose against Liv, to me, I just think that's cold. In my opinion, I think that's racist. And the reason why is because it's bad enough the brown skins can't get no dubs or can't get no titles. I mean, if you see, Laura Bice just got eliminated at the Battle Royal, and now Tatum Paxley is the new number one contender for the title. And I'm still waiting for Jessie Jane to give up the belt because she just injured herself at a house event, and still we haven't got any updates saying she's going to give up the belt. We haven't got any updates at all. And people keep saying, it's taped, it's taped, it's taped. I'm like, okay, fine. But can we please get the belt off of Jessie Jane so that way we can get Laura Bice to challenge Tatum, or maybe get, I don't know, like Jordan Grace or Blake Moreau, or, I don't know, like Lash Legend or Jada Parker, any of your top stars. Like, can we please get somebody to go after that belt, please? I mean, Tatum Paxley is the number one contender, but still, you don't have nobody brown to go after it, or nobody black. So it's just like, this is what I'm saying, man. If you could get Raquel to hold the belt until Naomi comes back, that would be great, because then we have Naomi take the belt from Raquel, and I think that would be a banger match. Absolutely. But in order for that to happen, we have to end this chapter between the Judgment Day and, this chapter with Liv and Raquel. Because honestly, it's okay if Raquel, beats Liv Morgan, because we seen her do it on SmackDown. And I do not want Liv Morgan to beat Raquel for the belt, because it makes no sense. Unless you're going to do something where you're going to have Raquel win the Money in the Bank and cash in on Liv Morgan to take the belt. But then what about Naomi? That's what I'm saying. Like, what's the point of putting the belt on Liv Morgan if Naomi's going to take the belt from her? It's just pointless. You know what I'm saying? So I really hope that they do the right thing and just focus on Raquel's build, and hopefully the crowd will rock with her, and actually, she'll get over with the crowd based off of, ring ability and ring work, and she ain't even got to be that good on the mic. Just be dominant in the ring, like the Great Khali, like China, like like I'm trying to think of some more, like Umaga, you know what I mean? Like Ryback, I know people don't talk about him as much, but, just talk about like Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, before, Triple H took over, you know what I'm saying? Well, before Braun Breaker, came to the main roster, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying, you could be one of the most dominant women in sports entertainment. You know what I mean? You could be the next Great Khali. You could be the next, China. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could be one of them, and then hopefully, down the road, you could beat Rhea Ripley, to where you can get your dub back. You know what I'm saying? Like you did back in NXT. So if we can get that, man, I do believe in my heart that Raquel will have the best reign. And even though some people are gonna say no, it sucks. The only way it'll suck is if she don't got no title defenses. The only way it'll suck is if she doesn't wrestle as much. You know what I mean? Because that's the problem when they get the gold. They don't wrestle as much. Dom is the only one wrestling. Everybody else ain't wrestling like that. So hopefully they do right by Raquel's reign. Hopefully Triple H will go back to the ways where she was in NXT and her last name started with a G. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully they'll do that. I'm hoping they'll do the right thing. I'm hoping that she'll hold the belt until Naomi comes back, and hopefully, Liv Morgan, after she loses, she'll go to SmackDown and challenge Bianca for the belt. You know what I'm saying? If Bianca take the belt from Tiffany, you know what I'm saying? So hopefully that happens, man. So that way everybody can move on. I'm hoping that Raquel will get back to that number one spot, because remember, man, like Bianca and Raquel and Rhea was supposed to be the top three, and this is the only way for her to get in that top three. You know what I mean? To where we have that one day we'll have Rhea, Bianca, and Raquel in the same ring, and we'll get that throwback that we've been looking for. But hopefully we could get it like in Survivor Series in 2026, you know what I'm saying? Or Evolution, you know what I mean? So hopefully we can get that. But the only way we could get that is if Triple H do right by her title reign and actually get her over with the crowd. And if he could do that, I promise you it will be the best. And I do believe it will be, but we need to give her some opponents. And hopefully you can give her some opponents until Liv, comes back and win the Royal Rumble, and then, we get that story built up, and hopefully, Liv and Raquel won't fumble the storyline, and hopefully it will make sense, you know what I'm saying? And hopefully Raquel doesn't run away from Liv, because that's one thing I do not want to see, especially how big she is. But then again, I have seen the Great Khali run away from Batista, so it's like, I get it, but still, Raquel shouldn't do no running, especially when I know that she can take down Liv Morgan. I know she can. So hopefully it works out, man. I hope it works out. But y'all get in the comment box and let me know what you guys think, man. Are y'all ready for Raquel to be women's world champion? Are y'all ready? I said, are you ready? I can't yell right now, but I'm just saying up front, man, Raquel's about to be the women's world champion. And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for ya. Sucky. Livy. That's 3 words. Suck it, Livy Poo. Get in the comment box. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share if you're new. And just remember, just like the Wu-Tang Clan, ain't nobody fucking with Raquelio. I'm out. Adios.